I would like to invite Charlotte. Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are.
Yes. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit about your path to the academy?
I can. It's definitely been an interesting path. First of all, I'm happy to see a few familiar faces here today because it just adds a little extra support for me as I share some of my story. I am presently engaged in the Class 8 cohort. We are at the midpoint. Professionally, over the last 30 years, I've worked in the communications sector. I most recently was a director of program operations. So when we think about people leaving the corporate sector, as Katja was just talking about, I'm part of that story and that group of people. Part of the reason Katja asked me to speak today is to share a little bit about how I came to join the class finally. So Katja is actually my personal coach and has been for over 10 years at this point. And so before she started the academy, in the summer of 2019, I was diagnosed with an invasive breast cancer that was what we call bilateral, meaning I had breast cancer in both breasts. And me being who I am, I initially, when I first received my diagnosis, I told my boss, I'll be out only 8 weeks. I'll be back. This is nothing. I got this. At the time, we didn't realize just how sick I was. So I spent a year and a half in various treatments, 5 months of chemo, daily radiation, an obscene amount of drugs. The whole time I was going through the process of treatment, I kept waiting for the gift of cancer. Oftentimes you'll hear people that go through a diagnosis or a major health crisis like that, and they end up running the Boston Marathon, or they write the great American novel. They have some sort of epiphany. I kept waiting for mine, so much so that I would joke with people that I did cancer wrong, right? Because after treatment, there was no, major epiphany for me. I was still, I went right back to my old ways being a workaholic. I know someone was talking about that in the chats. And then I had a conversation with a relative, and this is about 2 years ago. And this person said to me, I could die tomorrow, and that would be just fine with me. And I had to sit with that for a couple of days, because what I ultimately realized was I felt the same way, and that wasn't good enough, right? I'm just, the last year I hit what I would consider a midlife moment, age-wise, and his comments really bothered me, and it really required me to take a look at some hard truths about myself, recognizing that I was dealing with some CPTSD from childhood, plus PTSD from my cancer experience, and was acting out some of those fears and behaviors in ways that were just frankly not healthy. And so I finally did have an aha moment, and the aha moment was realizing that not only did I not in my core, I did not believe that I was going to survive breast cancer, but also coming to a place where I was somewhat okay with that, and not for the right reasons, right? So my aha moment wasn't running the Boston Marathon. My aha moment, anyway, at this moment, hasn't been to write the great American novel. We'll see, that could still happen. But my aha moment was that I had to make a choice whether or not I wanted to live, and whether or not I wanted to be excited about living, and what the next half of my life was going to look like. And so 2 years ago, I started this process of, self-discovery and really doing a lot of work. in September, I scheduled an appointment with Katya. And, for context, she had asked me to join the program 2 years ago. And my response was, I'm a hot mess. How could I possibly help anybody else? Right? And she likes to use the word audacity, and it really is an appropriate word. Someone asked in the comments, can a life coach be a role model? I would challenge that in the sense that, why do you feel the need to hold yourself up as a standard, right? You can coach and work with people because it's really about them. It's not about you. And, as Katja said, they're the expert in their lives. It's our job as coaches to come alongside them and help guide them to their truer selves by having, open-ended questions and providing a safe environment. Katja said, okay, now's the time. Now's the time for you to join this class. And even in that moment, I tried to say, no, I can't do that, because I was also in the process of making a major career change. But because she was aware of all of the work I had been doing over the last 2 years, she said, this is going to continue with momentum for you. And we think about a bow and arrow, if you will, right? And the further you pull back on that bow before you let go, the further that arrow is going to go, right? So as my coach, Katja, stretched me a little bit and said, okay, you're on the right path. You're moving forward towards healing. Let's just pull that, stretch it a little bit tighter and see just how much further you can go. And, me being who I am, I had to sit with that for a few days. And then I called her up and said, you're absolutely right. Let's do this. So it took me some time, right? But I had to be ready. I had to be ready to do the work, not just the work of learning to become a coach, but I knew inherently that the work was going to require me to go even deeper into myself. And here's the beauty of it. I'm halfway through the program at this point, and it has fundamentally changed my life. As a professional person, I've mentored and role modeled a lot of people over the years. Coaching is not the same as role modeling. It's not the same as mentoring. The way that ILCATE has changed how I move through my day is I interact with my partner, I interact with my daughter, and I interact with other family members on a much different level. So for me, I'm continuing to work in my career professionally, continuing to move through my courses. And is coaching going to become a part of my professional life? Quite possibly, yes, right? And for me, where I am looking to serve is to work with other women who have maybe have not gone through a cancer experience or other traumatic experience, but to work with women who are looking to live their best lives, right? The difference that we get when we go through this particular program is you can read all the books, right? I mean, candidly, I think I picked up my first self-help book when I was like 17, and it was Prozac, or Eat Potatoes, not Prozac. So like at an early age, I was on the hunt for something. I knew that I had work to do in order to live my best life. But the thing is, you can sit down and read a library of books, but without a community to process the books that you're reading, without getting extra support and, someone to kind of change the lens in which we look at things, then you're just reading the books, right? Stop reading the books if you're not going to actually be able to incorporate and integrate it into your lives. That's really the difference. I mean, I think I've read 20 self-help books, and from a theoretical or an academic perspective, they provided information. What they didn't provide is tools. They didn't provide real world practice. And the easiest way to think about this is when we think about how to pronounce words. If there is a word that we have never heard, right, that we've only read, there's a high probability we're going to mispronounce that word. So when we're reading books and we're trying to, go on a path of self-discovery, having someone verbalize those concepts makes all the difference in the world. I understood at a fundamental level, I understood at a theoretical level, words like manifestation, words like intuitiveness, words, mindfulness was a big one for me. I understood that was a word. I understood that people had mindfulness practices that, they felt brought them, comfort and space in their lives, right? But until I got to a place within myself that I actually knew what that meant in my body, they were just words. So when I think about the gifts that I've received through this particular program, it's not an overstatement for me to say that it has been life-changing. Not at all. It shifts how I walk through my daily life. I recently shared with Katya and Sana the community that I have in my peers, and I'm looking at two of them right now, and I'm, so grateful that they're here today. When I have a class with my peers, the days that follow in my life, man, are they ever easier. They really are. I mean, I'm fortunate to have an exceptional group of peers. And the thing that really I want to emphasize here, you don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have degrees or initials after your name. You just have to be willing to show up for yourself. Yeah. So whatever journey you guys go on, I wish you nothing but peace and joy and greater alignment with your higher selves as you move forward on this earth school.
Thank you so much. Thank you.